Powell Valley. And since then, we have started working with the cooperative and management to improve things in people's lives and in our community. And we continue to do that today by, like helping them craft an opt-out notification policy for the spring. And we're also trying to get member owners more involved in the cooperative. The cooperative is a democracy. It's democratically controlled by the member owners. That means you're a part owner of the cooperative. The other thing that we are trying to do is improve our community by working through the cooperative. Cooperatives operate under 7 different principles. The 2 that we operate under are the democracy, democratically controlled, and also care for and concern for community. Are there any questions about what we do? You can see that in the pamphlet. Okay. Okay, great. Bill.
My turn to talk?
Yeah, you can talk.
So, basically, why you all are here, or almost all of you are here, or many of you received a letter in the mail from us. We sent out 720 letters to people that we had on our mailing list. The mailing list was generated by people who signed petitions for various issues against, wanting an opt-out policy or wanting mail-in ballots for board election. So, and many people returned this. We have a chart in the back which shows how many people responded. We had 94 responses. There were 32 from Sharps Chapel. Every single one of them from Sharps Chapel listed broadband. And so we called, emailed, and again, I'm also sorry for any confusion, but we texted, called, emailed, people saw it on our Facebook page, and that is how it is that we're here. And like I said, we're really glad to have 2 staff people from Powell Valley here, because our knowledge of broadband itself is limited. So we encourage you if you're interested in being involved in working. We feel like we're working with co-op. One of the things that I do is I go to every Powell Valley board meeting. I've been doing that for 3 years now, and I've learned an awful lot. We've worked with the Powell Valley on their website. We've worked with Powell Valley on an opt-out policy. I know, like some of you that are here have underground electric. Raise your hand if you have underground electric. Okay, are you all in the same subdivision, or don't you know? Yeah. So folks who have underground are obviously not impacted by spraying. But for those who are impacted by right-of-way, Powell Valley needs to maintain at least 20 feet of the right-of-way. So when it goes across your property, it has to be maintained. So we were able to develop a policy, which there's copies of back there, and Travis Tolliver right here is actually the person in charge of that. And if you want to opt out, though, what it means is you assume responsibility for keeping that clear. And not everyone can do that, but many people chose to do that. If you don't sign a policy, it's a 2-year policy. It involves an inspection. The whole point of the right-of-way is so an alignment in the wintertime or any time that they have direct access to the poles. They don't have to fight through, shrubs and blackberry vines and everything else. They can just get their work done and get the power back on. But if you're in a position where you are interested to not have chemical spraying on your land, and you can maintain it yourself or hire someone to do that, on a 2-year basis, you know, you can contact Powell Valley. The text of all of the information is over there. So anyway, there are a number of ways that people can get more involved with the cooperative. Going to a board meeting is one. Knowing your board member, talking to your board member. I'm thinking that most everybody here should have Michael Sharp as their board member. Does that sound right? You know, he's a Sharp. This is Sharp's Chapel. And he's your board member. So if you have any issues or concerns, that's another person to talk to, one of the 9 people on the board. And again, encourage you to go visit back there, and if there are any of the issues that we mentioned, the ones that were on the survey, and many people responded to multiple ones, was broadband, that's why you're here, chemical spraying near electric lines, mail-in ballots, putting the Powell Valley board meeting agenda and minutes on the website, energy efficiency and reducing electric bills, and community solar for the future. TVA now allows local electric co-ops to generate, I think, up to 5% of their power through alternative energy sources, which is a big change. Anyway, that's a little bit about us, and yeah, please visit that table back there.
Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 different internet access technologies. So we're going to discuss the difference between broadband cable, DSL, and fiber. So let's start with broadband cable. Now, cable internet is a high-speed access technology that uses a cable modem with an attached coaxial cable which provides a link to the internet service provider. Broadband cable is typically provided by the same provider that provides cable television to their customers. And because it's provided by cable television providers, broadband cable leverages the existing infrastructure from cable TV to cover large geographical areas, especially here in the United States. Today, if you want broadband cable, your provider offers different packages that vary in speed. So for example, I use broadband cable from Xfinity, and they offer download speeds anywhere from 25 megabits per second all the way up to 400 megabits per second. So if you were to order cable internet for your home, your cable internet provider would send you a modem, or typically they would send you a modem with a Wi-Fi router combo, which is often referred to as a gateway. And this device would be a modem with a built-in switch and Wi-Fi router all in one. So when you receive this modem from your ISP, you would attach a coaxial cable that's routed into your home, and then you would attach it to the back of the device. The modem is what brings the internet into your home, and the switch and the Wi-Fi router is so that you can connect multiple wired and wireless devices such as computers, laptops, tablets, to the modem to give them internet access. And that's basically it. Now, cable does have a downside, and that's because you, along with the other homes in your neighborhood, will all have to share a pool of bandwidth that's been provided by your cable provider in your area. So what that basically means is that during peak hours of surfing the internet or streaming or downloading, you may experience a slowdown in your internet speed. And that's because the people in your neighborhood are all using the internet bandwidth. Now, DSL stands for Digital Subscriber Line. DSL is another popular technology that is used by homes and businesses to access broadband data over the internet. DSL can carry both voice and data at the same time over phone lines. It has a DSL modem like this one here that uses common telephone lines to carry its data. And because DSL uses phone lines, you don't want to confuse DSL with the older and painfully slow dial-up connection, which also uses phone lines. DSL is a high-speed connection that is much faster than the ancient dial-up connections. And with DSL, you can go on the internet and talk on the phone at the same time, unlike a dial-up connection where you can only do one at a time. Now, DSL is not as fast as cable, but it is cheaper. And also with DSL, you don't have to share bandwidth with your neighborhood like cable does. Everyone using DSL has their own dedicated connection. It's not a shared line. And DSL is more widely available than cable because it uses common telephone lines, which are nearly everywhere. Now, the speed of DSL can vary depending on where you live, but on an average, they offer download speeds anywhere from 5 megabits per second up to 100 megabits per second. And just like cable, when you order DSL through a provider, they will also send you a DSL modem Wi-Fi router combo. But instead of attaching a coaxial cable, you would plug a typical phone line with a phone jack to the back of a DSL modem. Now, there are a few different forms of DSL, and one is called ADSL, which stands for Asymmetric Digital Subscriber Line. Now, this is called asymmetric because the download speed is considerably faster than the upload speed. This type of DSL is mainly used in homes because home users typically download a lot more than upload. And ADSL is the cheapest form of DSL. And there's also SDSL, which stands for Symmetric Digital Subscriber Line. And this, as the name implies, the download and upload speeds are the same. And this type of DSL is typically used in businesses. And finally, there's VDSL, which stands for Very High Bit DSL. And this is a fast form of DSL that also runs over copper wire. And because it uses copper wire, it's really only made for short distances. For long distances, it can also use fiber optic cable. VDSL is roughly 3 times faster than ADSL. And finally, there's fiber internet. Fiber offers the fastest internet speeds available today. It has download and upload speeds of 1,000 megabits per second, so it's very fast. And the reason why it's so fast is because it uses light to send data running through fiber optic cable. And fiber optic cable is what's already used as the backbone of the internet. And in addition to the benefit of the faster speed, fiber can also travel much longer distances than DSL or cable. And this is because DSL and cable transmit data using electricity over copper cable, and signals in a copper cable can be affected by electromagnetic interference as it travels, which can weaken the signal, especially over a long distance. But fiber uses light to transmit its data, and it transmits it over a thin glass cable, which makes it less vulnerable to interference. So as you might have guessed, fiber is more expensive than DSL or cable, and fiber is relatively new compared to DSL or cable. The infrastructure is not there yet, so fiber may not be available in many locations.
I hope that was informative for everyone. Okay. Now, I think we're ready to have some questions and answers from our Powell Valley guys. Welcome Travis and Matthew. Does anybody want to start?
I actually work for Scott County Telephone.
You do?
And
okay.
we were founded in 1951.
Okay.
Or chartered in 1951.
You're a cooperative also.
I'm a cooperative also. Yeah. I work for my members. One thing I will add to that video, the fiber now, the technology that we use, we can actually do a 10 gig. We're not offering that right now, but we can do a 10 gig to the home.
Oh my gosh.
We've got equipment in place to do that, but we've really not put that in as far as a pricing structure or anything yet. We don't know that anybody really needs that kind of capacity.
Does that mean that PVEC Fiber is also a cooperative? I'm not really clear on the relationship between the 3 different
This
entities.
should just be 2 entities.
It is.
It's Scott County Telephone Cooperative and Powell Valley Electric Cooperative.
Okay, so
So that makes up PVEC Fiber, yeah.
Okay, so, it's not really a freestanding company
Yeah,
then?
a partnership, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And the grant that you received, that
It was-
the fact that all of us see here in here, that
Yeah.
is grant funding from the state of Tennessee.
So we applied for a grant with the DHCD folks in the state of Tennessee for the northern part of Union County, which was around 1,200, around a little over north of 1,200 customers. And then we actually applied for 2 grants. We applied for the North Union, and then service territory, and then the South Union. That would be down around Sunset Bay and some of that. And so we're looking, the mission of the Powell Valley Electric Board and Scott County Telephone would provide service to every meter. That's our mission, and so, and our goal. And so we're looking at doing some things down in the Sunset Bay area and a lot of those various subdivisions down there as well. We may, instead of fiber to the home, we're looking at some wireless technologies down there that make it a little more economical. But and the wireless technologies came a long way. You can get some pretty high speeds, over the wireless equipment that's evolved in the last few years.
I got another question.
All right.
So this, what's called the backbone here,
Right.
coming in the valley, and actually it was announced at the Powell Valley Board meeting last night, that Powell Valley is stringing 25 miles of fiber a week. Is that, Travis, that sound about right?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Yeah, and the install on that is $3 a foot. So if you multiply that out, every mile of broadband is about $16,000. This is why grant funding in rural areas is really important, because private companies don't, it's just not as money-making proposition when people live so far apart. But so my question about that is, so you have this backbone, right? And then, is it the same fiber that will then go up some road and then go to someone's house? Or is the fiber actually different in size or quality, or how does that work?
Well, it's all single node, 8.3 micron fiber is what we use. And so, that's the same thing the LD companies use for long haul across the country, what they started out with. There's a couple different types, there's several different types of fiber. I mean, they even have plastic fiber that goes in automotive. Multi-mode fibers for short haul, you'll see that mostly on local area networks, small or short distances from building to building. What we use is we're a carrier, and so what we use is single node. That's what we've always used in our network. And so the fiber backbone will go that's basically coming around the S line, the 3-phase line that's making the loop around. It may be, I think it's in 288 in size, is 216 in count. So there may be cabinets sitting along and multiplexers sitting along to where, we may be running 10 gig backbones around to a piece of equipment that then multiplexes out to different locations and different taps. And then you may go on out the line, a couple miles or whatever, and then we may have another pop site or an app sitting there that basically a cabinet that houses equipment that distributes again. And we build everything, in a ring topology. That way, if we get a cut, then it reverts back. And so everything that we've got is DC powered, and we have battery backups. We're a carrier. We're not a cable company, and we've got we've got people, phone lines and cell towers and that we have to keep in mind. So, that's why we design everything in that fashion.
So I understand that telephone is also, telephone service is also
It is.
available.
Uh-huh.
Okay, could you talk a little bit more about that and how that works?
So, you know, if you want to take a telephone line from us, I think on the pricing is $24.99, unlimited long distance. Then what you would do, we would basically have to port your number over from your current carrier. So that'd be CenturyLink. So we would port that number over and you get to keep your landline. You know, a lot of people, and then just the younger generation, you know, once they get the internet access into their house, they're using their cell phone and doing Wi-Fi calling and whatever. So, but I've really been surprised in the Powell Valley territory and the footprint down here that the amount of people that want to retain their landline.
From yourself?
Yeah,
Or
there's no
such-
cell phone.
Well, you know, we've seen that too, you know, in Verizon, and Verizon Legacy's footprint as well. But it's just, they've kind of forgotten about it, you know.
Here's a question.
So I live out in Tanglewood,
Uh-huh.
and also on property in Sunset Bay, so I'm equally interested in going to both. But specifically in Tanglewood, where my house is at, they run all the way back through the main road, all the way down Trails End, but cut off and didn't go down Lakeshore, which is where I happen to live. So I'm curious, is that going to go down Lakeshore?
Yes, what they've done now, we're building the backbone. We started with the big wire, you know, kind of like a water line is the way to think of this. You know, you start with your big main, then you branch off to taps, and then you branch off to houses. So what they done down through there, we brought the 216 in to North Shore's Tanglewood. We branched off with 96 count fiber and built down towards Tanglewood. Now what we'll do, once we get all of our 96 run, we'll come back with 48, 24 and build out by your house.
Okay.
So it's just a process, you know, kind of we're walking before we run, but we've got to get the backbone, the feeders in before we can start serving, you know, residences and stuff like that, and that's what we're working on.
Because where we live, we've tried HughesNet, we've had
Yeah.
Viasat, we've had CenturyLink, we now have AT&T, and I work from home. And so
Yeah.
it's next to impossible for me to work
Yeah.
from home, so that, which is frustrating in my business because people call me all hours of the day and night, and I want to be able to answer questions and can't. And so the sooner we get it out there, the sooner I can work effectively. And for cell phones, down behind the mountain, in the trees, so I don't get great cell signal later. So if I don't go outside, I don't talk on the phone. That's where that landline comes in very handy.
Yeah.
To where I can call people back. Do we have an anticipated time frame?
We're looking, you know, right now with the backbone stuff like this, and Matt can help me with this, I'm looking more like springtime to be finished with backbone and stuff and start. Hopefully by then too, we're hooking up drops to the homes and stuff like that also. You know, we're gonna try to be doing 2 or 3 things at one time as we get our electronics in, our backbone built, stuff like that. But don't think we forgot about you, we're coming back. But we're just trying to get the big war run and then get to the smaller war and then get to the homes, you know. So it's just a process and it takes time.
Okay, and with that smaller wire, are we still gonna be able to get those, I think the highest one is 10?
Yes, you will be able to get the same thing that's on the list. Basically what it is, it's just a tap wire, like, kind of like a, you know, the water line or a power line. We build a big line down the road and then we tap off with smaller wires to feed the house and stuff like that. But you can get the same service, it will not be a problem.
And same thing in North Shore, you're gonna run it to all the.
North Shores? Yes, ma'am. We're in there also. We've been in there working too, and it's the same process. We've got our bigger wire up to 96 and stuff, and then we'll be back once we get our 48, run all that and do it. You know, it's just taking a step at a time to get to where we need to be to serve you. I wish we could hook everybody up tomorrow, but it's not feasible. And kind of like this, the people that get it today is gonna be happy. The people that get it next year ain't gonna be as happy, you know. But we wish we could do it everybody tomorrow, but it's just a process, you know. But we are coming, and we're gonna get there.
What do you run into the house, fiber or cable?
It'll be a fiber drop. Fiber.
Yeah.
So you're saying that everyone isn't gonna get it at once? Some people will get it maybe next month?
Yes, it'll be a process, that'll be right. Just what we recommend for you all to do is call the 5204 number, you'll talk to 2 of our fiber guys in there, Andy and Abe, and they'll talk you through the process, get your information on your home, where you want the service, what speed you're looking at, And that puts you on our list. Once you're on that list, when we get by you and we get the fiber lit, we'll come back, start running drops, hooking up homes. So what I recommend to everybody that wants it is call in, get your name on the list, talk to Abe and Andy, they'll get you the speeds you need, talk about pricing, and once we get there, they'll put the orders out and we'll start hooking up the homes.
Well, the fiber is running past our home right now.
Okay, where do you live?
It's on Lakeview Drive.
In North Shore.
In North Shore. Yes, that would be correct. We've got to get it lit, and we've got electronics, like Matt was speaking about a minute ago, top sides. We've got one that feeds you all starting at Sandley, then we've got one above the Horseshoe Bend. And if you go where the curve is, where you go straight into Sunset Bay, and they built them storage buildings, if you'll look at that pole right there on the left side of the road, what Matt was talking about, the electronics, that's a pop side. We just put it in last week. Now we've got to get our electronics in it, get all of our fiber in it, do splicing, but we're working, from the source to the load, basically like electricity. We're having to start where it comes from, where it's lit, and work our way down to you all. And trust me, we're working hard every day.
Here's a question right here.
So it really shouldn't be too
Hold on,
long.
excuse me.
It really shouldn't be too long for us.
No, what I would recommend is call tomorrow, get your name on the list, and we will work hard to get to you, I promise, we're trying, that's our goal, we want to get to every meter, and I wish we could get there tomorrow, but it's not gonna happen, but we're gonna work hard.
Yeah, Pam?
Okay, I got a question. We all live up on Walker Road. On Walker Road?
Yes.
Up on top of the ridge.
Yes,
I do know up there after Ford, right there at Ridge and Russell, where the old store is.
okay.
Y'all do have a reel of cable up there, so it is to that point there.
That's another run of the 96, like Tammy would. We're gonna come back and we'll take off of that with a smaller wire and keep building on out the lines. What it is, basically, we're getting what we need to feed up in there, and then we'll branch off with smaller wires to continue on feeding everybody.
Okay.
Yes, we're coming back.
All right, well, I got a question.
Okay.
One, do you have to have a house phone? Because we got rid of our house phone years ago because it was stupid.
No,
paying
you do not have a
$90.
house phone, no.
Okay.
No.
And there's like, I'm self-employed, my husband's self-employed, we've got realtors on that road, and the only internet we even have is our cell phone. And that uses every bit of our data.
Yes.
So, anything special we need to have prepared in advance?
No, basically, you just need to call in, get your name on the list, and then we will call you ahead of time. We'll run the drop, you'll see us working on your drop, and then we'll call you, quick as you see us start running drops to your house and stuff, then we'll get with.
My husband's already bribed your guys,
Okay.
he said he would do it.
That works sometimes, don't it? But anyway, quick as we run the drop, then we'll set up an install with the customer, at their convenience, whenever Matt's guys or our guys come, and then we'll do it at your house convenience when you'll be home, stuff like that. So they'll give you a call like that, but like I say, don't think we forgot about you, we've not.
Well, I was trying to figure out on here, which.
Basically, what you're
it's like-
looking at there on that map is the ring. It comes in here from Tazewell, Cedar Grove, comes into the Horseshoe Bend curve, right above the hill, from Jamie Rhodes' house. You go out by his driveway there, we got a pop site out there. And what it does, it goes to Lead Mine Bend to the right, then it comes all the way down Sharps Chapel, goes down to the Big Saints, and on across Katy Mar, Lead Mine Bend, makes a loop. That way you've got a loop feed. If we have trouble, on the Lead Mine Bend side, we can feed it back from the Sunset Bay side, So basically, that's what we were doing, is getting what they call the backbone.
Basically, all the roads inside is pretty much gonna have it?
Yes, we're gonna have it totally to
It's not
every,
like you're gonna go a
No.
mile and a half and stop.
we're gonna run it to every meter in Sharps Chapel. Whether you take it or not, we're gonna run it there. So,
So as far as Sunset Bay goes, I'm sorry, how are they gonna do that with all the underground utilities?
I will let Matt elaborate on that.
So,
He's been
as
working on that project.
Yeah, so we're looking at some wireless technology there, up on the hill, up on the ridge, it's all aerial through there, so we were looking at maybe putting some access points or whatever up on the ridge to kind of shoot down to the houses. In the last few years, we've done a lot with some wireless technologies. We've got shots that are running 100 meg at 10 miles. So, and they've got, there's equipment out there now that'll do, 500 meg, symmetrical,
That's
so.
more like a cell tower versus satellite.
Well, it's not really licensed spectrum, so it's not like the cell tower, and it would be it would be priced accordingly to like just what we have priced here.
But it would, in essence, it would distribute the signal like a cell tower.
Well, we would probably have a device on your house, and so there would be a network interface point on your house that would talk to our antenna. So it would just be, you wouldn't be able to, it has to go through, it would be like air fiber or
Okay.
wireless fiber, so to speak.
Because all I think about when I think satellite,
Yeah.
that ping rate
Yeah,
is so
right.
horrible that you can't stream it.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that's not gonna do that, right?
No.
So the device would be located near the box, most likely near the meter?
Yes,
So
that's
that
it.
would, and that would act as the gateway to your
That's
devices in your
right,
house?
that's right.
And it would be secure and,
Yeah, that's
Okay.
exactly
You have
right.
a question way in the back
Before we get to the next question, I see some of you have this, if you haven't, this is the card that has the rates on it that are available for the different speeds. And you can go online and, there's a very simple questionnaire that you can go through. If you Google search, that'll tell you about what speed that you think you might need in your house, depending upon how many people are there, how many devices you have, and so forth and so on. But so, that might be a little bit of homework that you want to do before
Actually,
you talk to Powell Valley.
that calculator is available on one of the handouts.
Oh, the link to the calculator?
Yes, a link to the calculator. It'll ask you questions about how many users you have, what sorts of devices you have. And then you can go on this calculator and it'll tell you the speeds that you need. So it's on one of the handouts out there, help yourself. And, yeah, we've got a question in the back.
I understood you to say you anticipate having a trunk line done in the spring. I live on Elms Ferry Road. Do you have any target or estimation of when you'll be going back into the residential areas back in there?
We are already working some down on Landmine Bend, that's what we call the S1 line. We already got a crew in there, they're working today building taps on that side. So we're working towards you from the cold store, working down that way, so. Building tap lines and stuff, so.
Yeah.
We're in Waterside Cove, we're off Big Valley Road.
Yes.
So you're in the cable.
Yes.
Pump line through there, and that's the fiber optic line. Now, two things. One, will fiber optic be coming into our development, or
We have
will it
two,
have to be like wireless or something?
okay, we've got two options there. We can either come from the road, or we can also